Hello everyone. Welcome to the fifth lecture on computer architecture and organization. In this lecture, we are going to see about the power wall. Also, if we have time, let us discuss about the switch from uniprocessor to multiprocessor. Before getting into that, in the last lecture, we discussed about the performance equation. So in the performance equation, we discussed only about the performance of the CPU. That is, we discussed about the CPU time. The CPU time, which otherwise called as elapsed time or the execution time. The elapsed time is nothing but the whole time that is taken by the computer to perform a particular task. And CPU time is nothing but the time spent only in running the programs. Also, the system user time is nothing but the CPU spent in operating system. That is nothing but the operating system performs the task on behalf of the program. Also, we discussed what are all the factors that affects the performance of the CPU. So, in the first case, we observed that the CPU performance has been affected by the execution time. So if we make the execution time very less, then the performance will be very more. So always we need to aim to design the program in a way that it must executed in a very short time. And in the second case, in the second performance equation, that is another factor which affects the performance of the CPU is CPU clock cycles for a program and the clock cycle time. So in this lecture, we are going to see the next performance equation, which includes some of the factors that is different from the previous one. So in the previous case, we talk about the number of instructions that is being executed. In this case, we have included another one important term which is called as average CPI. So the following example will give you a clear picture about the performance of the CPU. The example is this: a compiler designer is trying to decide between two code sequences for a particular machine. Based on the hardware implementation, there are three different classes of instruction: class A, class B, and class C, and they require 1, 2, and 3 cycles respectively. The first code sequence has 5 instructions, that is, 2 instructions of class A and 1 instruction of class B and 2 instructions of class C. The second sequence has 6 instructions, 4 of class A, 1 of class B and 1 of class C. So which sequence will be faster, how much, and what is the CPI for each sequence? So we can't design. The second sequence has 6 instructions and the first sequence has 5 instructions. Since because the first sequence has 5 instructions, it will run fast. We can't decide like that. So we need to perform some operations on this. If you see the solution for this, what is this? This is the solution for the previous question. So they have given this solution in a tabulation format. So the CPI for each instruction class, that is A, is 1, that is the clock cycle per instruction. For the class A, the clock cycle is 1. For class B, the clock cycle is 2, and for class C, the clock cycle is 3. If you see this is 3, this is 2, and this is 1. And if you go for this code sequence, the code sequence, that is the code sequence 1, this has instruction count for each instruction class, that is 2 number of instructions under class A, 1 number of instruction under class B, and 2 number of instruction under class C. And if you see the code sequence 2, it has 4 number of instructions under class A, 1 number of instructions under class B, and 1 number of instruction under class C. So if you count the total number of this instruction for the code sequence A, the total number of instruction is 2 plus 1 plus 2, which is equal to 5. For the code sequence 2, it is 4 plus 1 plus 1, which is equal to 6. So if you think that the code sequence 1 will perform very faster than code sequence 2, then it is wrong. So we are going to calculate this. We know that the CPU clock cycles is nothing but the average of the clock cycles into the clock cycle time, that is CPI, that is the clock cycle per instructions into the clock cycle time. So we have already discussed CPU execution time for a program is equal to CPU clock cycles for a program into CPU clock cycle, as well as the CPU clock cycles is given by instructions for a program into average clock cycle per instruction. So depending upon the previous two performance equation, we have arrived CPU clock cycles is equal to summation of I varies from 1 to n CPI into CI. Okay. So if you apply this, this yields CPU clock cycle for 1. If you see this clock cycle for 1, then we need to count the number of instructions along with its clock cycle. We need to multiply the number of instructions into that particular clock cycle for all the instruction class. So CPU clock cycle for 1 is 2 into 1, 2 into 1 plus 1 into 2 plus 2 into 3. Okay. So likewise for code sequence 2, it will be having 4 into 1 plus 1 into 2 plus 1 into 3. Okay. So these are all the clock cycles for the two code sequences, that is code sequence 1 and code sequence 2. So this yields the CPU clock cycle 1 as 10 cycles and CPU clock cycle 2 as 9 cycles. So the code sequence 2 has less number of cycles than the code sequence 1. We have the code sequence 2 has one instruction more than the code sequence 1. If you see here, this code sequence 2 has one instruction more than the code sequence 1. Though it has one instruction more than the code sequence 1, it executes faster because it has only 9 cycles. So what this means is that the code sequence 2 takes fewer overall clock cycles but has more instructions. It must have a lower CPI. The point is that it must have the lower clock cycle per instructions. That is, the CPU values can be computed by CPI is equal to CPU clock cycles divided by instruction count. How many instructions are there? We need to take that is the denominator part, and the numerator part is CPU clock cycles. So CPI, that is the CPI value for the machine 1 is equal to CPU clock cycle for 1 divided by instruction count 1. So which is equal to CPU clock cycle for the machine code for the code sequence 1 is 10 cycles divided by instruction count. The total number of instruction for code sequence 1 is 5. So 10 divided by 5, which is equal to 2. And for CPI 2, which is equal to CPI clock cycles divided by the instruction count, it is equal to 9 by 6, which is equal to 1.5. So this CPI is very lower for the code sequence 2, and hence the code sequence 2 executes more faster than the code sequence 1, though it has one more instruction than the previous one. Okay. So let us recall this performance equation too, because this is very important, and this is the complete performance equation in calculating the CPU execution time. The CPU execution time for a program is given as instruction count for a program into average CPI into clock cycle time. That is the cycle time that is taken by the clock cycles that is being executed by the instructions. Okay. So if you go for this example, you need to read this example again. A compiler designer is trying to decide between two code sequences for a particular machine. One code sequence includes 5 number of instructions, and other code sequence includes 6 number of instructions. And for class A, they require 1 cycle, and for class B instruction, it takes 2 cycle, and for class C instruction, the machine takes 3 cycles. So we want to calculate which computer is faster than the other. The computer which takes the less number of clock cycle will be the faster. Okay. So if you go for this solution, they have given this in a tabulation part. What is CPI? CPI is nothing but the clock cycle per instruction. So for the class A instruction, the clock cycle per instruction is 1, and for class B instructions, the clock cycle per instruction is 2, and for class C instruction, the clock cycle per instruction is 3. And the instruction count, we are in need of instruction count because the clock cycle time depends on the number of instructions into the cycle time that is taken by each instruction to be executed. So for code sequence 1, it is for under the class A it has 2 instruction, under the class B it has 1 instruction, under the class C it has 2 instruction, and for code sequence 2, under the class A it has 4 instructions, under class B it has 1 instruction, under class C it has 1 instruction. So what we need to calculate is that we need to calculate CPU clock cycle time. So CPU clock cycle time is nothing but the clock cycle per instruction into the number of clock cycles, or the number of instructions we are executing. So how many number of instructions under the class A? If you want to calculate for the code sequence 1, under the class A it has 2 instructions. So for class A instruction, the total clock cycle time is 2 into 1. Okay, so likewise we need to add for all the classes, that is for class A, class B and class C. So if we do like this, for code sequence 1, it includes 2 into 1, that is number of instructions into the clock cycle time, plus 1 into 2 plus 2 into 3. And for code sequence 2, it is 4 into 1 plus 1 into 2 plus 1 into 3. So if you add this, then we will have, for the CPU clock cycle 1 it has 10 cycles, and for CPU clock cycle 2 it has 9 cycles. So the CPU clock cycle 2, which has less cycle time, it has 9 cycles, that is only 9 cycles. So we may conclude that the code sequence 2 is faster because it has only the one cycle less than that of the previous one. So if it has the less number of cycle, then it will have the lower CPI. Okay, so if you want to calculate the clock cycle per instruction, then it must have the lower CPI. So in order to calculate the lower CPI, it is given by CPU clock cycles divided by instruction count. If you divide the clock cycles, that is the total clock cycles that is taken by the instructions to execute, divided by the number of instructions that is present inside the code, it will give the clock cycle per instruction. So CPU clock cycle for 1 divided by instruction count, so 10 divided by 5, which is equal to 2. Similarly, CPI for 2, which is equal to CPU clock cycle for 2 divided by instruction count of code sequence 2, which is equal to 9 divided by 6, which is equal to 1.5. So we may conclude that the system or the code sequence which has less CPI, that is 1.5 clock cycle per instruction, is 1.5 is very faster than the clock cycle which has 2 here, which has 2 CPI here. Okay. So far we have discussed about the performance equation, and the next thing which we are going to see is the power wall. So if you see the figure of this, the graph explains the increase in clock rate and power of 8 generations of Intel microprocessors over 30 years. If you see this, the clock rate and the power increased rapidly for decades and then flattened off recently. If you see nowadays, that is from 2004 to 2012, the graph become flattened. If you see the reason for this, we have run into the practical power limit for cooling commodity microprocessors. Okay, so this is the brief introduction about the power wall. It's nothing but there is a limit in power. We have make a limit in power because of some reasons, and where we are using this power limit is that we are using in cooling commodity microprocessors. Very frequently we are using that. So let us see about this lecture. Let us see about this detail in the next lecture. Thank you for now. Continue watching.